Hello again, Cons here, and today I thought I would go over a few ways that you can optimize your Flora Frostbite farming, assuming you're doing it manually, of course. If you want to do it via the macro, then obviously check out my videos on that. But for now, I have a few methods. I know the quest is going to be over soon, but it'll come back around, and I'm sure this will still be useful in the future. The first thing is to gear up appropriately. This is obvious, but I only mention it because a lot of the people aren't running Geologist on their sets. I see a lot of people only running Botanist because they don't realize that Geo affects all of the extra gathering nodes. I'll just show you on the actual skill description itself. Special item gathering points. It's not just mining nodes. So yeah, don't forget to run Geologist too. And other small skills can make a difference. Master Gatherer is obviously really important. Polar Mobility can help with loading up the quest. And actually, if you're not running this mix set here, and I'll talk about the mix set in a second, you can use Nagakuga's chest to get Speed Crawler, which again makes a very small difference, but when a quest is over in 30 seconds, these small differences do actually make a substantial difference because you'll be doing it so much. Now, regarding the set bonuses themselves, I'm using my optimized set here, which has 3 pieces of Kirin, 1 of them on the Safi'jiiva weapon, and 3 pieces for the Astral tickets, the VIP tickets. I don't think the VIP tickets are that worth it, so if you do have to pick between them, then I would say go with 3-piece Kirin if you don't have Safi'jiiva access yet, like for example you're on PC. Alternatively, you can run 5 pieces of Astral if you're very interested in the VIP tickets for like the layered trade-ins and stuff like that. Also, if you're on PC, you can run Nagakuga's chest for Speed Crawler, as I mentioned, because you only need 3 pieces of Kirin. So yeah, optimize your set and it can actually make a pretty substantial difference. The second thing I wanted to mention is to go into your low high ranks if you haven't gotten the Assassin's Creed mantle already, and grab it by doing the SDF Silent Deadly and Fierce quest. You get the feathers from this, which you can then sort of do via trade-in deliveries. The Assassin's Creed mantle increases your movement speed quite substantially. It does draw aggro on monsters, but it's not a big deal because you beat the quest so fast that Barrier barely ever has a chance to attack you, and I've never actually had it interrupt me. It's not just useful for this quest, it's also useful for a whole bunch of other things. Basically, anytime you're going to be gathering or whatever, this mantle is going to be your sort of go-to. I'd also recommend, once you get it, to rearrange it in your item bar and put it at the front, so that now when I start a quest and go into it, it'll be the first thing on my hotbar, and I'll show you what I mean now. As you can see, it's right at the start of my item bar, and so I can equip it straight away and start running off and doing my quest. And so I get the movement bonus right from the beginning, and I don't have to slow down to equip the mantle. The third thing I wanted to mention was some sort of miscellaneous menuing tips when it comes to the handler. As you can see, she has some lines of dialogue that only last a single button input, but at the same time she has these ones which have multiple. The interesting thing is, if you press the circle button instead of X, you can see here, this is the same line of dialogue that has 2 parts to it that we saw a second ago. By pressing circle, you skip straight to the menu, and so that can save you a button and help you get into a better flow. Additionally, when you press post new quest, you can see I was able to get the book up faster. I get this by holding R1, it might be R2 for you depending on your controls, the right bumper or the right trigger. Here's the speed normally, you can see it's fairly slow. And here is the speed with the sped up button held down. I know it doesn't seem like it makes a big difference, but again, 1 or 2 seconds every quest, when the quest itself only lasts 30 seconds, is pretty substantial. And just generally try to get used to the sort of menuing. Get used to the optimal way to do it. Oh, and also I found the vouchers to not be particularly useful. The next tip I have is to not use the map to teleport to Camp 15. I see a lot of people going to Camp 15 manually before they start up the quest, so that they don't have to deal with the drunk bird, and that's good and all, but the problem is this requires a map transition every single time, whereas you could just start the quest from the handler directly there. And the probabilities of drunk birds seems to be so low that it's really not worth adding in an extra map transition. If you get the bad bird, you have a slightly longer landing animation, and then you just get to fast travel again anyway. So it's you're really not losing that much time, and overall the drunk bird occurs so infrequently that the time that you'll save from going straight to Camp 15, and of course, I actually get the drunk bird. But you can see, you only have to deal with the long get up animation, and then it's just the same as if you hadn't come here already. In fact, it's faster because you start closer to Camp 15. So yeah, I would definitely recommend teleporting straight to Camp 15 from the quest post screen rather than trying to avoid the drunk bird. The next thing I wanted to mention is to bring the cat along with you. As you see, when you come up to a gathering node, there is a small chance that the cat will actually gather there and get you one of the ICEBLOOMS. It's not particularly frequent and it doesn't happen every single time. However, you can see I gained 1, 2, and then 2. those 2 batches of 2 were from me gathering, and the single 1 batch was from the cat gathering. It doesn't make a huge difference. However, I have had a couple of instances where this has actually saved me from having to travel across the map to the 4th ice bloom, which does actually take quite a lot of time. Generally with the cat active, I've never had to actually run here, but without the cat active, I have had to come here a couple of times, even though it's infrequent. So yeah, the cat, you lose nothing by bringing it, and it can save you small amounts of time in the long run, although this is a fairly minor optimization. And at the very least, you're getting more research points for it regardless. So what's the harm in bringing it along? That said, I never had any luck getting the tail rider to actually gather anything for me, so I wouldn't bother using the signal to get a tail rider along. And the last optimization I have for you, and probably the most important, more important than all of the other ones put together, you're not gonna like it, it is to go and buy a solid state drive. Look, I know this one isn't particularly viable, but I thought I'd mention it anyway, just because the quest is over in 30 seconds, 25 if you get all these optimizations down. The fact is, you're going to be spending more time in loading than you are actually doing the quest. And so all the optimizations to the quest itself are going to make very little difference if your main bottleneck is the loading times. So yeah, consider grabbing an SSD if you haven't already. It's really nice to have. It makes everything load much quicker on your PlayStation, just makes life a lot easier, makes games more enjoyable. So consider getting one. Obviously not specifically for this quest, but I thought I'd put it here as a 6th point on my 5-point list as a sort of honorable mention. But yeah, I hope you found these tips useful. I hope there was something here that you maybe weren't aware of or weren't doing already. And if not, then call me a bitch in the comments. Love you. Bye-bye.